Alrighty, here we go. Brand new Flyers Daily for Tuesday, April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. Flyers Daily presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Flyers coming off yet another win. And I know this is going to drive some people crazy that they're winning down the stretch. Oh, they're killing their draft position. They're going to end up picking 8th and not get anything, and they'll be mired in mediocrity forever. Look, let's see how this plays out. I get it. I understand. They still have played more games than any team in the NHL. They've played 76 games. Only one team's played 76. That's the Devils and the Flyers. Most it's played in the Western Conference is Minnesota and St. Louis at 75. Teams that potentially they could fall below in the standings. Pittsburgh, who they're still below, has a game in hand. You look at some of the other teams that have games in hand, including the Boston Bruins with 2 games in hand. You look at in the Eastern Conference, Detroit, 3 games in hand. The Islanders, 3 games in hand. Buffalo, 3 games in hand. So fear not. Things will fall where they fall. I remember a couple of years ago, the last week of the season, the Penguins lost to Chicago. It kind of ruined the Penguin season. It was kind of a thing that, a snowball effect that had all kinds of crazy ramifications. It ended up being Toronto got into the playoffs and faced a certain team. Pittsburgh lost to Chicago. People in Chicago thought that was going to ruin their chances at Bedard. Actually, the Flyers played Chicago that week, and Taves almost scored in overtime to win it. They didn't. And you end up where you end up, and that's how it works out. So we'll see how that part works out. You don't mess with fate, at least not in my opinion. But I know there's a tank crowd out there right now that wants them to lose games. But it's hard when you've got a player in number 39 who goes out there and puts up another multi-point performance last night with 2 assists, does Matvei Michkov in the game. Flyers get outshot in the game 29-18. Biggest question mark going into the offseason, other than head coach, center position, goaltending. Big question. Ivan Fedorov was great in the game last night. Nothing he could do on the 1 goal they scored. It's a rebound. He makes the first save in tight. Rowe gets the puck, puts it in by him. That tied the score at 1. Ryan Poehling opened the scoring. We're going to talk about him in a second. Who the heck is this Ryan Poehling, by the way? He opened the scoring at 8:50 into the second period. His 11th of the season, his 10th point in 10 games. Konechny and Michkov with the assist. Just a beautiful play. And it all starts on the left side of the ice. As they're entering the zone, Flyers come through the neutral zone. Konechny drops it off to Michkov, who's coming down the left wall. But Michkov does something, and this is where I think he's so dangerous. His ability of knowing when to move to the middle of the ice. So he's coming down the wall, and you're taught as a team defending a winger coming down the wall in the pseudo rush it thing. Just give him the space to the outside, keep him to the outside. He can't hurt us out there. But Michkov says, okay, you're going to give me the space outside. I'll take a little bit of it until I don't, until I want to make a decision to move to the middle of the ice, because when I get into the middle of the ice, everything opens up for me, not just certain things open up for me. He gets to about the top of the circle, sharp cut, right to the middle of the ice, and everything opens up. Ends up with a tic-tac-toe play, Michkov to Konechny to backdoor Poehling. He puts it in. Flyers get on the board. It's 1-0. His ability to move into the middle of the ice, the instinct of when to move into the middle of the ice, is one of the best elements of his game. And we're going to talk about a lot of his good elements in this episode because there's a lot of them. But that one in particular opens up the ring of possibilities. And what it also does is it puts you at an advantage with the team defending. Because as soon as he moves into the middle of the ice, they know they got to pick up all these guys. We'll get to that on the second goal. As I mentioned, Nashville gets it tied at 13-14. Then 13-48, not even a minute later, Jamie Drysdale gets what turns out to be the game-winning goal, 2-1, off an assist from Michkov, kind of a flub shot, but nonetheless, Travis Konechny picks up an assist as well. Flyers go up 2-1. That's your game. That's ball game right there. Drysdale called game. Now, why was Drysdale where he was and wide open on the side of the net to put that in? Because again, this time, Michkov working off the right side. Talked about this with Bill yesterday. I think he's a positionless offensive player. Doesn't matter what wing he plays. He's going to play where the ice is good and good for him to make plays. So he's on the right side. And again, he pulls the little move, going down the wall, and then just cuts to the middle of the ice. Now he's in the middle of the ice again, and he's creating all kinds of problems. Konechny gets him the puck as he's coming through the middle. And because Michkov and the play is moved into the middle of the ice, it sinks all the Nashville defenders down around their goal, around the blue paint. And what does Jamie Drysdale do? Go, oh, look at this. They're all going there. Let's go down here. It's kind of like the scene in the original Star Wars, the first one ever, when Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader are having a lightsaber battle at the bay where the Millennium Falcon is trying to take off, and all the stormtroopers see that those two are having a lightsaber battle, and they all go running over there, and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker go, now's our chance. Get on the ship. Let's get out of here, because they all went over there. Well, when Michkov sucked everybody to the net, Jamie Drysdale goes, well, just drift down here on the outside. They're not even going to see me coming. And they didn't pick him up. He's on the left side of the net. Michkov kind of flubs the shot, goes right to Drysdale. They don't even know he's there. Boom, in the back of the net. Again, that go into the middle with that vision creates so many problems. Now, he's going to be a guy that's going to score goals, Michkov. He's going to be a guy that's going to have a ton of assists, though. I could see him in the prime of his career being a 90 assist guy in a season. Not even kidding. 90. That's how deft of a passer he is, and instinctually how good he is. By the way, have you ever seen him look down when he has the puck? Have you ever seen him look down at his stick? Never. Eyes are always up, always looking at everything. He knows where the puck is. He feels it. He's got some unbelievable instincts. And again, another multi-point game for Michkov. He continues to pile up the points, and the Flyers come away with a win. And I know that's, for some people, that's not what you want. That's not the result you want. But how about the line, too, with Konechny and Michkov together? That looks like something that I want to see that to start next year. Who's in the middle? Couturier? I think Couturier's look good with that line, to be honest with you. So that's something that I might look at. I mean, we see what other centers are here. Is Jelachenko part of that mix? Maybe he's that guy. Or do you want to put Lachenko in that situation where he's got to be a little bit more defensively responsible with two offensive playmakers up front that you want flying up the ice? We'll see. But Couturier has worked out well with that line as well. So another great performance from Michkov again last night. And Fedotov was great. And when it comes to goaltending, which we'll talk about, I don't know. I kind of know where I stand on it, but you see a performance like that last night, and it's just not there consistently enough. It's just not. Like, you look at the way he played last night, you go, that's an NHL goalie. But it's just not there nearly consistently enough. That's the issue. And that's what I want to get to in this episode, but I want to get to an email first. This email came a couple days ago from Emmanuel. He said, hey, Jason, great work this week on the pod. Nice to see you attack the content with your usual passion and sensical insight. I don't know about any of that. He said, awesome to see your fight is going strong. We are fighting every day. He said, I absolutely love the spread on the Flyers website detailing your story, your cancer diagnosis, and subsequent battle to take it head on. Truly inspiring. It was nice to get to know you and your journey in such a candid and intimate fashion. Well, I appreciate that. He said, this season, though, has been trying, and it has been. I'm telling you, we're all beat up from it. That's part of tearing down to rebuild. It's going to be hard. He said, but I'm not part of that ridiculous tank movement, nor am I giving up on Briere's plan. He said, I've invested my whole life into the orange and black, and there's no way that I'm ever giving up on my love for my team. He said, we will prevail and become a competitive sooner than later. I truly believe it. Even if the last two losses against Chicago and Toronto were utterly demoralizing, we're better than that. He sent me this a couple of days ago. This is obviously before what is now a 3-game win streak. He said, a couple of decisions for you to ponder. And this is why I brought this email kind of back from a couple of days ago. And it's two things that I think are very interesting. He says, number one, Owen Tippett. He says he has all the tools to be a power forward, a consistent 30 to 35 goal scorer. His speed and size sets him apart. But why the inconsistency? Why does he play a timid game? He said, I'm not regretting the contract they gave him, but he needs to turn a corner. With TK slumping at the time, it would have been a perfect opportunity for him to take over and go into beast mode. Where are you with Tippett? And are you losing faith? Now, with Tippett, he's a guy to me that I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. He doesn't know how gifted he is as a hockey player. When he has confidence and he when he has confidence, he's got creativity. He's not afraid to take a chance. I do think that he takes too many mindless shots or low IQ shots, which a goaltender just ends up eating, or he ends up shooting wide in situations where I'd like to see him work the situation for a more dangerous scoring chance. But you look at this year, he's played in 70 games. He's got 20 goals, 19 assists. To me, he's absolutely a 30-goal scorer. Well, he's not until he is, but he should be. And I think there's a lot of refinement that needs to come into his game. And I think a lot of it has to do with confidence and him knowing that I'm a big guy that's big and strong, can skate like the wind, can shoot the puck, can dominate at times. And frankly, I need to have the mindset that I can dominate at times, and I got to dominate more. And when a guy like TK or Michkov or whoever they're relying on for scoring is struggling, I need to be the guy that pulls us out of it. He hasn't developed that yet. So am I concerned? Yes, because I thought he would have 30 goals this year. To me, he's entering the prime of his career. He needs to be that player. All the skill sets there, all of it. To me, it's all in here. It's all in his head. Does he know how good he is? How good he can be? How he can take over a game with his skating and physicality, size, speed, and all of it? That's the part he's got to figure out. So you bring up a great point. He's a guy that needs to take the next step next year. Or then maybe you start to worry about the contract. Maybe I start to go, look, I'm a little concerned about it now. I haven't lost faith. I'd like to see it all come together for him. And maybe it takes being on a team, on a good team, that's really moving in a positive direction for that to happen for him. We'll see. But he's got to be a big part of it for it to happen too. Next point that Emmanuel makes, goaltending. Yeah, indeed. This is a very precarious situation, he says. I love Ersson, but I fear he may not be number one material as initially thought. I thought people jumped the gun to that as well. Going, he's a number one. Trade Hart last year when he was on a good. We fall in love too fast here. We got to slow down, get bigger sample sizes to make more educated decisions, is my opinion. So I don't know if he's a number one. What I've seen so far, he hasn't proven to me that he's a number one. Yes, he can be very good for an extended period of time, but you need the consistency to be a number one. That's 55 games, and you got to be good. You got to be reliable. He hasn't been reliable enough just yet. Emmanuel said, would you trade for Jordan Binnington? He said he has 2 years left on his contract at $6 million per. Seems like a reasonable contract, and after 2 years, we could see either Zavragin or Bjarnason take over. We'll see about that timeline for Zavragin or Bjarnason as well. As far as Binnington goes, I've made no bones. I am not a Jordan Binnington fan. More a fan of the way he carries himself as a goalie, the faux tough guy kind of thing, where he's always trying to mix it up, but not really. Look, his game this year, he's played in 51 games for St. Louis. Obviously, he was a cup-winning goalie, and he was phenomenal. He was great in Four Nations. This year, 51 games. He started 49 of them. He's 25, 21, and 4. He has a 2.7 goals against average and about a league average 901 save percentage. Last year, he was better in 57 games at a 913 and a 284. The year prior, in 61 games, not a good year for him. 500 on the year, 894 save percentage, 901 the year before that, 910, 912, 927 in that first year that he came up. He is now he's going to be 32 years of age. He's 31 now, and his birthday is coming up on July 11th. So he'll be 32 over the summer. Hasn't played a ton in the NHL. He's played 331 games over 8 seasons. He's a guy that, I'd look at it. The money doesn't scare me that much. He would be an option. Be a tough pill for me to swallow. Maybe change my opinion on him. I don't know. I think he still has something left in the tank, but I don't know that St. Louis is going to trade him. Does St. Louis have the answer behind him? I don't know that St. Louis is going to do that. He said a tandem of Binnington and Ersson seems appealing. He could be a mentor to Ersson, too. I think I prefer him to Jake Allen or other UFA options. The UFA market's hideous, so don't even look there. Binnington also has a bit of that Hextall feistiness in him, which I think fans would love. Yeah, they would. I don't like his brand of feistiness. It seems a little phony to me. Is that it may cost us a first-round pick. Would you do it? I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. I have to look at all options, see what's available via trade, see who flames out in the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know if I would go for that. I've mentioned John Gibson before. He makes a little bit more money, 6.4, but he's not reliable. He's injured too much. Is John Gibson same age as well and same term left on his contract, 2 years after this one? I have to think about it more, Emmanuel. I need more time is what I'm asking for, but we shall see. All right, last thing. In this season where it's been rough, it's been tough on all of us, the record, the way things have played, it's going to be an exciting offseason. You got a coaching search. I wanted to mention this too, that I know on 32 Thoughts yesterday, Elliot Friedman had mentioned, said, this is a quote from Friedge on 32 Thoughts. Philly has in 2026 their first, they have their second, this is draft picks, they have their third round pick, they have their fourth, they have 7 draft picks in the first 2 rounds this year. Teams are starting to look around and saying, is that going to be the offer sheet team this year? Is Danny Briere going to go Doug Armstrong of St. Louis and get into the offer sheet game? He's got the tools necessary. You need your own draft picks to execute the offer sheet. And that's a way of doing business. The offer sheet is something that could be a big coup for the Flyers. You can really put the screws to a team. If you identify, whether that's Gabe Vilardi, whether that's Marco Rossi, whether that's Mason McTavish, whoever it might be, that you want to offer sheet, you can put the screws to a team if you have the cap space to do it, and they don't. So I'd like to see that offer sheet. That shows me an aggressive identifying a guy and going out and doing everything you can to get it done. I'd love to see that, the offer sheet. We'll see where that goes. But this offseason, it's going to be long because they're not making the playoffs. But it's going to be incredibly important from a coaching change to the additions that they add in either restricted free agency, trade, draft. You got a ton of picks. How do they use these picks? How's it all play out? Which teams flame out of the playoffs? Does a coach become available from a team that you didn't think was going to be available because they got bounced in the first round? Does a player become available because a team gets bounced in the first round? You don't know. Well, this is going to play out. There's a lot of variables here. So it's been a long season. But there's 3 things we'll go into this offseason that are really important. These greatly impact the strategy of the offseason. The first one is, I feel like as I sit here, sure as you know what, that Matvei Michkov, what he has shown this season, and it hasn't been perfect, what he has shown this season is that he is not going to be a star. He's going to be a superstar. Why? It's not just the points. To me, it's other elements of it. When he struggled, he competed. He still competed his ass off. He's got a lot of competitor in him. He's a guy that when he went against the biggest names and fellow countrymen, whether it was Ovechkin or Kucherov or Panarin, he rose to the occasion. He's a guy that doesn't shy away from the spotlight. He looks for it and says, I'm going to play my best when I'm in it. He's going to be a superstar. And you've got that piece. And I don't care if you got it at 7th overall, 1st overall, where you got it. You got that piece. He will be an attractive player for young players to come here and play with because he's such a great distributor. He's going to feed guys and give them numbers. They have a superstar in budding on this team. That is huge. His dynamic abilities, his compete level, his rising to the moment and jumping into the spotlight, which tells you he's going to be a great playoff performer because there's no bigger spotlight in hockey, is a huge element that you go into this offseason knowing, and damn it, feel good about it. Feel good about it. Also, a guy that got off to a little bit of a sideways start, got hurt again, but Jamie Drysdale. The development of Drysdale this season, to me, has been remarkable. Not that it's been Like, whoa, this guy went from here to a Norris contender. He's not that. But you can see the way he's playing. Look at his underlying numbers. I'm not a big underlying numbers guy, but I read about him and look at them. His underlying numbers are really good. So are Michkov's. But Drysdale is playing the game instinctually in the NHL for the first time now. And he looks it. I don't need the underlying numbers. I just watch him play, and I go, guy feels comfortable. Brad Shaw's done an amazing job with him because I thought his head when he got here was a mess. Decision-making was a mess. Tentative. Didn't have confidence in the plays he was making or the reads he was making. And he's also proven, since he got back, that he can stay healthy. That added muscle that he put on in the offseason, that he can stay healthy and didn't lose with that added muscle any of his greatest strength, which is his skating ability. So I'm very excited for Jamie Drysdale. I know Gautier's putting up pretty good numbers out in Anaheim. I can't sit there and compare the two players. It's like comparing apples and tennis rackets. It just is. You can compare the 37 points of Gauthier to a defenseman that has got like 19 points on the season. It's not an apples-to-apples comparison. But I think Drysdale has really taken a big step, and that's a big thing for the Flyers' future. And the last one, this isn't a positive. It's not a negative. It's friggin' reality, is you go into this offseason, and you know you have to do something in goal. I said it earlier. I know Fedotov was good in that game last night. I can't go into next season. I don't care if he plays every remaining second of the last 6 games of this season and doesn't give up a single goal. I can't go into next season with the tandem that I had this season. Can't. The pressure's off. So I take that with a grain of salt. I know they can't go into next season with this goaltending situation. And knowing that sets you up for how to attack that. That's a weakness. Knowing what Michkov is and how he plays now a year into his NHL career, you have this ability to go, okay, these are the players that would work with him. We see what he can do at the NHL level. Tip of the iceberg still, I think. Drysdale. Who's the right partner for him? They're trying Cam York with him lately. Do you need a guy with more size with him? What is the future of Cam? There's a lot of questions, right? The one thing I know, the goaltending, like I see that performance last night. I said this on the postgame show. And the performance of Fedotov, who I think has won 1 game in his last 12. You see that performance, you go, that's an NHL goalie. But the goaltending has been such a head scratcher. I don't know whether to wind my butt or scratch my watch when it comes to the goaltending situation. But I do know enough this season to know that I can't go into next season in the same situation I went into this season with. I know I have to improve it. I have to make it more reliable. I'm not going to let that position undo a season. Those 3 things are 3 very critical elements to this offseason. Combined with the coaches, combined with free agent acquisitions, trades, draft picks, how you use your picks, RFA offer sheet. They're all huge. Those are 3 I think are of paramount importance. And the first 2, with Michkov to a huge degree, Drysdale to a lesser degree, are really good positives that we'll take into this offseason as well. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like button down below. Ring the bell. Get notified whenever we put new content here on the Flyers YouTube channel. And subscribe. And if you're listening via regular podcast methods, give us a 5-star rating and a review. We appreciate that as well. We'll be back tomorrow. Flyers aren't back until Saturday. This schedule's bananas. I don't know who did this schedule. They just picked random dates out of a hat and opponents. But to have 5 days off now at this time of year after how cluttered it's been is a little ridiculous. I digress. I'll complain about that another day. We'll get after it tomorrow, though. If you got any emails or inquiries or things we should talk about this week, since we have some open time, by all means, send those also to jason.myrtetus, MYRTETUS, @gmail.com, or you can DM me on Twitter as well. Everybody, have a great day. Enjoy your Tuesday, April Fool's Day. We'll talk to you next time on a brand new Flyers Daily.